Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to Diana Emerson. Today we're listening to Text Me When You Get Home, and this is Alexis Murphy.
Alexis put a lot of positive energy out into the universe, and she used social media as a platform to do that.
I had given her money to get her hair done for her senior pictures. But come to find out, she never made it there.
17-year-old Alexis Murphy told her family she was going shopping in Lynchburg and never came home.
This is your mama, call me. Where you at? Call me. Everything just going straight to voicemail, straight to voicemail. Where is she?
What's happened that she can't communicate with us?
Did she have a hidden boyfriend? Something else in her life that was not known to her parents?
Police see two concerning tweets.
It was scary. It just didn't seem real to me.
If her body's in the trunk of that car, I don't want her mother to find out on social media.
I was just numb, but I still had hope that she was still around.
A young woman is missing tonight after leaving a bar with a stranger, then texting help to a friend. You're watching her terrifying abduction.
A missing woman's body was discovered in this ravine.
Miraculously, the young woman survived. There is an alarming crisis of violence, kidnapping, and murder against innocent women. A senseless murder has struck a chord with thousands of women. This has sparked a global movement online of women sharing their own fears.
They're united under a hashtag, text me when you get home, a phrase that women are all too familiar with.
Nestled in the heart of Virginia's Blue Ridge Mountains is picturesque Nelson County and the small rural community of Shipman, population 486.
Shipman is very rural. I think they just got real internet service about 3 months ago. So it's kind of a place that's sort of lost in time. Not much has changed there in a very long time. And I think the people that live there kind of want it that way.
Shipman is just a little small community. Everybody know everybody. I never felt unsafe in my community.
Several generations of Murphys have lived in the rural enclave, so it's no surprise that Laura Murphy also raises her 3 children there, including her 17-year-old daughter, Alexis.
Alexis is my second one. She was my first girl and my only girl. She was my biggest baby. And I remember the doctor telling me she had a head full of hair. And he almost dropped her on the floor when she came out.
Alexis's childhood was typical rural Virginia. She grew up around extended family. Alexis was close to everybody. It's a very large family. Just a wholesome childhood. Ran outside, played, just things that normal kids would do.
Alexis was a comedian.
Shout out to this girl.
She loved to laugh and she loved to sing.
Volleyball was her sport. She could kill the ball, I'll tell you that. I remember we were playing at open gym, and I would always just trash talk to her just because. And I remember her hitting the ball straight down the line, and she hit me in my face, and I'm like, oh, okay. And she just looked at me like, yeah, now you can be quiet.
In the summer of 2013, Alexis Murphy is preparing for her senior year at Nelson County High School.
She was definitely looking forward to all the milestones that came with that, thinking about where she was going to go to college, definitely thinking about playing volleyball on the next level, on a collegiate level.
So I'm about to go to volleyball conditioning. Turn out real quick. We just got our floors redone. I am too happy.
Volleyball was our common bond. I love that because I went to college to play volleyball. For her senior year, I was going to be her volleyball coach. It was actually going to be my first time coaching her at Nelson County High School.
She just loved life, and she loved doing her makeup and having her hair done. I don't think she loved anything quite as much as she did her own. So, yeah, typical teenager.
she would have an extension cord with her charger because she would make sure she could go to each room and still be able to charge her phone so that it wouldn't go dead.
Okay, my life is pretty much complete right now. Whoever invented this, thank you so much.
The cell phone was Alexa's lifeline. I used to tell her, I don't text. She said, well, Mama, I don't want to talk. I want to text you. So she would text me every morning, tell me she loved me, and I would text her back and tell her I love her too.
But Alexis's social world extends beyond sports and even beyond Shipman, Virginia.
Alexis put a lot of positive energy out into the universe, and she used social media as a platform to do that.
In case y'all didn't know, it's Black Girl Sunday. Celebrate your girl. We're not. It's whatever.
Alexis was definitely into social media. She had a Vine and then Twitter. Alexis would tweet about pretty much anything. Her love for Starbucks, the caramel frappes from McDonald's. So it was like a day by day or a time by time of what she was doing or what she thought of at the moment.
Hey, where my Pacers fans at? I was serious. None at all.
I didn't realize she was like that much of an influencer until I was coaching a group of 15, 16-year-old volleyball players for travel. And they're like, you're kin to Alexis Murphy? And I said, yeah, how do you know her? I follow her on Twitter. And then they would pull it up. How does she have that many followers? But she definitely like made her presence on there. And it was just her being herself.
I'm embarrassed. It's not even funny, but that was terrible. At a time where social media was just starting to be a place where people were communicating on a daily basis, Alexis was really a rising star on Twitter and social media. We're talking about 2013, and at a time where most students had maybe a couple hundred followers, Alexis had close to 12,000 followers across her social media accounts. Thousands of people were checking in daily to see what she was up to.
It's a typical summer Saturday at the Murphy house. Alexis returns home from her job at a consignment shop around dinner time.
It was on a Saturday evening. Alexis had gotten off from work. I was getting up, getting ready to go to work. I work night shift, so my mom, which is her grandma, was at the house at all times. Alexis had bought some new things from where she worked at, and she was showing off her new cell phone holder, and I had given her money to get her hair done for her senior pictures. She leaves out the house in front of me. She was driving her daddy's car because Lexus had just got her license. She hadn't had it but 2 months. And I think I leave maybe 5 minutes after her, and we go on our way.
She is excited, and she's tweeting the entire day. We see her post bird bound, so she's telling people where she's going.
Shipment to Lynchburg would be about 30, 35 minutes. Once you get on 29, it's a straight shot to Lynchburg.
In the middle of the night, Alexis's grandmother notices a bright light coming from Alexis's room.
Alexis was expected to be home by 12 o'clock. At the time she left, she should have been home before 12. But I guess my mama had went to bed and woken up and seen that the lights were still on. She thought she was able to free herself. I guess my mom just went back to sleep.
Hours later, Alexis's grandmother wakes up to find the lights still on and no Alexis.
I get a call from my mama when I get off from work, telling her Alexis not home. I was like, what? She said the lights are still on. Because mama left a light on inside for her when she came home because she knew that she didn't like the dog. She said, I've been calling her, phone just been going straight to voicemail.
She would not miss curfew. If she had to be home at a certain time, she would be there.
Mom Laura frantically tries calling Alexis on the drive home from work.
I was angry because I knew that she should have been home and she shouldn't have cut her phone off. I just kept calling her phone, leaving voicemail. This is your mama, call me. Where you at? Call me. Everything just going straight to voicemail. Right then and there, I knew that something wasn't right because she keeps her phone charged up. I know when your phone dead, it goes straight to voicemail.
Still unable to reach Alexis, Laura and her mother contact the rest of the family.
When her mom called me and asked me had I spoken with her, I knew something was wrong. First thing I immediately did was text her. Are you okay? Where are you? I just wanted to hear a response. Oh yeah, I'm okay. I just got my phone charged back up. It was dead. Like just something to reassure. Oh, okay, you are okay. Nothing.
My desk phone rang and I saw that it was my niece Angela, and I heard Alexis didn't come home last night and no one's heard from her. I knew that was very out of character for Alexis, so my heart kind of sank. At that point, all I could think about was I just got to get to Nelson.
16 hours have passed since 17-year-old Alexis Murphy left her rural Virginia home for a hair appointment. Her last known communications are her social media posts, including one that shares her plans for that evening.
We were all trying to call her cell phone, text her cell phone. We had called all of her friends. She just wasn't anywhere that we could think of. It was pretty traumatizing at that point because all I could think about was, where is she?
Maybe she was in a car accident somewhere.
And she's sitting on the side of the road and we just can't find her. Like, it was scary.
Why is she not answering this phone that I know she has with her? What's happened that she can't communicate with us?
With continued silence from Alexis, the family takes further action by posting on social media and contacting the police.
It was Sunday about 12 o'clock when I went to the sheriff department to report her missing. I was there for a while because they said she maybe she didn't want to be found, or maybe she wasn't missing.
This is a teenage girl. Did she have a boyfriend? Was she, purposely trying to not be home?
It was just things you wouldn't think of that you think you would have to think of during a time like that. Did she run away? Like, was there stuff we didn't know that maybe she was unhappy?
Alexis's family begins their search by backtracking her steps, starting with her hair appointment in Lynchburg.
Alexis would have went to the hair place on that Saturday, but come to find out, she never made it there.
The local authorities subpoena Alexis's cell phone records for clues to her whereabouts. In the meantime, her Aunt Trina discovers another way to track her cell phone.
I was like, you know what? She has an iPhone. And at that time, there was an app that was called Find My iPhone. So I typed in her phone number, and well, it told me a location of where she was. There's a very large estate in Shipman, and it sent us there.
Oak Ridge Estate is thousands of acres. We're talking about a dense property, and it's right off of Route 29, about 10 minutes from where she lives.
And so we started looking there and just walking up and down the road, any signs of an accident, driving up and down the road, any signs of, her car going off the road.
News of the teen's disappearance travels quickly over social media. Soon, friends and volunteers are helping scour the estate for any signs of Alexis, her car, or her cell phone.
Within a matter of a few hours, there were ATVs and a couple of hundred people and state troopers.
My college volleyball coach messaged me and said, hey, my old roommate's husband is an FBI agent. He wants to reach out to you.
And by 7 o'clock that evening, the first FBI agent, John Pittman, was on the ground.
I became involved in this case approximately 24 hours after Alexis was last seen. At that point, I don't know what we have. She could have been in an accident. State police put up a helicopter to try to get eyes from above to see if they could see any evidence of an accident, and they didn't.
After darkness falls with no results, investigators and the family begin to question the accuracy of the phone app.
It didn't yield anything at all, so that just left us with more unanswered questions because we still didn't know where she was.
So now we're starting to worry that foul play might have happened, but at the same time, did she have a hidden boyfriend? Something else in her life that was, kind of not known to her parents, that she was really sliding away to meet someone, so we had to consider all that.
She had no reason whatsoever to leave home voluntarily. I understand that happens, but that's not Alexis, and that's not what we're dealing with.
I went to the family's house, and I interviewed some of the family members. Where was she going? Was she going to meet anyone? So we could start to build a picture or a timeline of where she could have ended up. After talking to the family, I kind of got the sense that, yeah, she wasn't the type to just run off with her boyfriend. One thing I remember the family telling me, she would not let her phone run out of charge in their house. So the fact that she wasn't returning any texts or calls and was going right to voicemail was very concerning.
During the interview, he also learns of Alexis's active social media presence.
She had thousands of followers. That makes our jobs harder. That's a wide suspect pool. If somebody from out of the area seen her on one of these social media platforms and has come into the area because they like her, that will broaden the potential suspects other than just people in her immediate Shipman, Livingston, Nelson County area. And one of the deputies went back to the sheriff's office and started to peruse her social media for any leads that might be in there.
When police start to look at Alexis's Twitter feed, they see two concerning tweets. One that says, "You may see me sooner than you think, and I would like to meet you."
The following morning, the investigation intensifies as the FBI deploys a specialized team to set up a command post in Nelson County.
We had at least 50 to 100 law enforcement officers.
That Monday, the FBI was in full mode. That's when I really knew that my child was missing
There was a lot of support on social media. I do remember there were several groups that had formed to like help find Alexis. There was even a group that had formed like help find Alexis Murphy.
Her friends and her followers on Facebook were absolutely just sharing. Everybody has their opinion about social media, but when you have a loved one that's missing, it is a vital tool because you're able to share with tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people almost instantly.
As the search for Alexis strengthens, the community continues to mobilize and offer help.
There was so much support in our community that it was unbelievable. And it was all because of social media.
Nelson County Sheriff's Office and the FBI, along with the state police, is looking into the disappearance and concern for her well-being.
We know from Alexis's last tweet that she's Berg-bound, which means Lynchburg. So to travel to get there, you have to go on Route 29.
At the time Alexis went missing, there were 3 other individuals that had gone missing starting in, I believe the earliest one was 2009.
It's an undeniable truth that there are a lot of young women missing on the 29 corridor.
And all of them had similar MOs. There were young women who were traveling alone and suddenly disappeared off the face of the earth.
And it just seemed like such odd circumstances.
The community started to wonder, was Alexis's case part of all of the missing teenagers who had suddenly disappeared along Route 29?
When 17-year-old rising influencer Alexis Murphy vanishes in rural Virginia, law enforcement wonder if her disappearance may be connected to a string of unsolved missing persons cases along the area's Route 29 corridor.
So we were considering the possibility, could the same offender be responsible for all of these missing persons?
2 days after her disappearance, Alexis's cell phone records are received and handed over to a cellular specialist on the FBI's CARD team.
He was able to kind of plot Alexis's movements until her phone went dead. Turns out it was true. She was last seen at the Liberty gas station.
Liberty gas station was one of the like essential hangout places for high school kids. After school, after games, it's an easy place to meet up, especially for kids to go home to where they live at in Nelson.
This was a huge break in the case to have Alexis's phone ping at the gas station, and the reason is because there's surveillance video, and that's when we finally see a glimpse of Alexis.
August 5th, agents went to Liberty to interview staff members as well as try to pull video. We were able to find Alexis on that video. Entering the store, there was nothing about Alexis's behavior that was out of the normal. She walked around in the store for a little bit and then paid for gas and then left.
The surveillance footage places Alexis at the Liberty gas station at 7 p.m. on August 3rd. Her phone died at 7:17 p.m.
And so based on that information, we send agents out to do neighborhood canvases.
While law enforcement searches the vicinity for any sign of Alexis, her social media fans are rallying to find the beloved rising influencer.
One of Alexis's friends on social media, they never met in person. She started the Help Find Alexis Murphy page.
The Facebook page immediately garners thousands of followers who post and share in hopes of finding the missing teen.
I didn't know how popular she was or how many followers she had until she went missing. And social media helped us because we have a lot of people looking for her.
While Alexis Murphy's social media followers help in the search, authorities get a lead.
The tip line received a call from a lady that said she was by the Charlottesville Mall and saw 2 or 3 people throwing a young black female into the trunk of a car.
It was at Fashion Square Mall in Charlottesville. It was a white car that was involved.
We go and look at it and see if there's any validity to it. Turned out the young girl was fine. They were just screwing around in the parking lot, kind of playing around, having fun.
You want every single lead followed up on, and you want every single person that is able to see, hear, and speak looking for your loved one. And you don't care whether it's a viable lead or a not viable lead. You're just grasping for something, the next piece of the puzzle.
It's now been 3 days since Alexis was last seen.
So on August 6th, Tuesday, leads are still coming in. They're getting covered. Phone records are getting looked at more. But in the evening, we get a call from Albemarle Police Department that Alexis's car was found in the Carmike Theater parking lot in Charlottesville.
The person who had discovered Alexis's dad's car also put it out on social media. So when police arrive, it's a circus. There are a ton of reporters, photographers, cameras everywhere.
Got released on social media before law enforcement had an opportunity to call us. We were all kind of in the kitchen, and I remember this jubilation of her car's been found, because it's like a puzzle. And when you're finding pieces to the puzzle, it's exciting at first because it's like, okay, we have another piece, like we have her car.
But the car is found in Charlottesville, 40 miles north of Murphy's hometown of Shipman, and 70 miles north of Lynchburg, Alexis's intended destination on August 3rd.
Finding Alexis' car in Charlottesville was strange because she should have never been in Charlottesville. So right then and there, we knew that something wasn't right.
One of the things we had to do is pop the trunk, and one of the possibilities is someone's in there alive, which we didn't think. We probably would have heard some banging around, or, unfortunately, someone could be in there deceased.
This was a moment that their stomachs just dropped.
All I could think about was that, we haven't heard from her. I remember telling the FBI's involved, I need you to call because if her body's in the trunk of that car, I don't want her mother to find out on social media. I need you to shut that down.
When the trunk was popped, there was nothing. Nobody was in the trunk.
There's nothing in the car. There's no blood in the car. Like she pulled in and parked it there and left it. So we had another piece of the puzzle that pretty much led us to a dead end.
Intent on discovering how and when the car got there, authorities scour surveillance footage from the parking lot and nearby businesses.
From the surveillance footage, we were able to see the car getting parked from 2 different cameras. It's starting to fill in the timeline now. And that car was parked up there on Sunday evening, August 4th, around 10 p.m.
The footage also captures the driver.
They see a dark figure moving, and the person almost disappears into the nighttime. It was creepy, it was unsettling, but they couldn't quite make out who it was.
Unfortunately, it was too grainy to see. It was only one occupant. Well, you couldn't tell who it was by any stretch.
It was not Alexis. It was not Alexis driving that car.
It has been 3 days since rising social media influencer Alexis Murphy vanished in rural Nelson County, Virginia.
I was trying to hold on to hope. I was just like numb. And I had my other 2 kids there, so, I had to try to be strong, but to see my oldest break down was just hard for me. Because Avery really don't cry, but That day, he broke down.
After her vehicle is located, CCTV footage reveals a mystery driver behind the wheel. Anxious to identify who it might be, authorities rush to re-examine the surveillance footage from Alexis Murphy's last known location.
Police decide to take another look at the Liberty gas station footage, and they notice something. And this is the biggest break in the case yet. They notice that as she's going in to pay for her gas, there's a man, they have a quick exchange.
He's holding the door open for her, but there's no conversation. It's a very quick exchange, so it's really hard to tell on that type of video whether there was any even eye contact made.
So we now have someone that might be the last person to have had contact with Alexis. So we're trying to identify who that person is.
Police interview the gas station attendant who says, "That's Randy Taylor. I see him all the time." And this is a man that's hard to miss. He has a huge Daffy Duck tattoo on the side of his neck. He drives a camo truck.
During interviews with the clerks, they told us that she was talking to Mr. Taylor outside by the pumps. That interaction was not captured on the security cameras.
He is not someone you would think Alexis Murphy, who's a volleyball star, has tons of friends, would be interacting with.
There's a camera that shoots kind of across the parking lot and on 29, and you can see Alexis's car traveling northbound on 29, and you see Randy's truck in a large camouflage painted SUV.
Alexis's car is following Randy Taylor's, and it's going the opposite direction of where we know she's supposed to be going, to Lynchburg.
4 days after Alexis's disappearance, investigators pay Randy Taylor a visit at his home, located just off Route 29.
When police go to interview Randy Taylor, they say it looks like a horror house. It's secluded, it's overgrown.
There's an old abandoned house, and then in front of that was an old camper, and that's where Mr. Taylor was. That's where he was actually living.
When the agents first question him, Randy Taylor denies having any knowledge of Alexis Murphy. But when told about the surveillance footage, Taylor's account of August 3rd changes drastically.
This is when he brings up that, yeah, he ran into Alexis at the Liberty. Outside, he got her attention by tapping on his air horn. They got into a conversation about weed, and they were going to go meet, with a friend.
He admits to being with Alexis, and this is huge. Then he throws in another wrench into the case. He said that there's a third person, Damien.
And essentially, they all three, according to him, went to his trailer, drank a couple beers. He said that they left here basically happy, no problems. He didn't see any problems.
According to police, they follow up on Taylor's claims. All leads are explored in search of the truth.
My gut's telling me we still can't eliminate this guy, that's for sure. We know he had at least told some small lies about knowing Alexis. We got to stay on this till we can either eliminate him or find out more of what that interaction's about.
Investigators file for a warrant to search Randy Taylor's camper and dig deeper into his story about the mysterious friend.
All we know that this is a black guy named Damien. We don't know much about him. In order for police to track Damien down, they scour social media, and they find him on Facebook.
Hello?
They also learn that he's gone out of state the weekend after Alexis has gone missing.
And they showed me this picture of Damien and wanted to know if I knew him, and I was like, yes, I know Damien.
We went to high school together, and he worked at McDonald's at that time. McDonald's is connected to the Liberty gas station. They are side by side.
My niece was gone. So, yeah, I'm looking at everybody sideways at that point.
It's been 4 days since rising social media star Alexis Murphy disappeared while on her way to Lynchburg, Virginia. Authorities discovered that an acquaintance of hers, who left town shortly after she vanished, may be the last person to have seen the missing teen.
Once I found out that Damien had left town after her disappearance, it was alarming. Was he running, or does he have something to hide? Because he had been in Nelson for a while, so why leave now?
When police interview Damien, it's another dead end. He has a strong alibi. He says he was in Nelson County, but he was with his girlfriend and nowhere near Alexis.
Damien denies any involvement in her disappearance, and after further digging, police corroborate his story. They don't know how Randy Taylor knew Damien or why he pointed the finger at the local McDonald's worker, but they do know that Taylor's claim of Alexis leaving his home alive and well with someone else is false.
At this point, Investigator Mays had obtained a search warrant for Randy's property.
Police head back to the camper, and they find a ton of evidence.
Several items were taken. A diamond-looking stud earring, a finger or toenail, which was embedded in a carpet, and a hair that looked as if it had been forcibly removed because it still had the root ball.
You don't just lose your Monroe piercing. I mean, it's like a piercing in your face. You don't just rip your own fingernails off. Like, that just doesn't happen. So it was clear that a struggle had taken place.
It's certainly starting to look like, all right, what's going on here? So we wanted to get that stuff tested as quickly as possible. Obviously, we're all kind of on pins and needles, as you can imagine, to say, is this going to be Alexis's DNA on there?
At that point in the game, I was not going to put one negative thought out there. It was, look at all this law enforcement, look at all these people sharing her post, sharing her picture. So we will find her. We have to find her.
It's been 8 days since Alexis Murphy went missing, and the lab results have come back. The DNA found on the items in Taylor's camper is a match to Alexis Murphy.
We know she was in the camper, and at this point, we still don't know. Is she alive? Is she dead? We just know she was there, or at least those items were transferred there somehow. But, we don't know her whereabouts or what might have happened to her.
The same day, authorities arrest Taylor for abduction.
The FBI came to the house and told us that they had someone that they had arrested. And they showed a picture, and I had never seen it. But the vehicle has been up and down our road before.
This is a super small town, a one-stoplight kind of place where people were hanging out at the gas station. They report something kind of strange. They always see Taylor parking his camouflage truck when school lets out. And he just sits in the parking lot of this gas station, not moving, not doing anything.
We still haven't found Alexis's phone, so that's obviously something we wanted to try to accomplish.
Cell phones are contraband in the Department of Corrections in the state of Virginia. So they have dogs that are specifically trained to sniff out cell phones.
And these dogs can sniff out the glue adhesive. And that's where we find Alexis Murphy's phone. Right on Randy Taylor's property. It was smashed to bits. We knew something horrible and something violent had happened.
I knew it was taken from her. She would never let go of that phone. Not for a second.
I remember Laura asked, do you think she's really dead, John? And I was like, I didn't expect the question.
I wanted to keep hope. I mean, I understand what they know, but something inside me didn't want to let go.
But I told her the truth. Yeah, I do. I'm sorry to say, but I do.
Even without a body, the prosecution feels the evidence is strong enough to charge Randy Taylor with first-degree murder, which would carry a potential life sentence.
When they decided to upgrade it to a first-degree murder charge, they called all of us in, and obviously it was not the news we wanted to hear, but he shouldn't not be charged with murder just because he's really good at hiding a body.
A few months later, Randy Taylor goes on trial for the first-degree murder of Alexis Murphy. And despite all the evidence, the prosecution has an uphill battle ahead.
You have to remember this wasn't a slam dunk case. This was a murder trial without a body.
In May of 2014, the murder trial for missing teen Alexis Murphy gets underway. But Alexis has still not been found.
And I always had to hope, okay, maybe it was like, she's just injured. She's okay. We'll find her. Maybe she's somewhere in another state or somewhere that we would find her and she'd be okay. I would see her again.
After the opening statement, the prosecution unloads its most damning evidence. Items discovered during a second search of Randy Taylor's camper after his arrest.
Without a body, the prosecution painted a horrific scene with all the evidence. I will never forget the moment that police held up Randy Taylor's blue shirt with Alexis's blood all over it. My heart just sunk into my stomach.
The shirt matched the one Taylor was wearing on August 3rd. Wrapped inside of it were hair extensions and false eyelashes.
The blood on the shirt belonged to Alexis. The hair extensions and the fake eyelashes all belonged to Alexis.
And right then and there, I knew that it was a struggle. I knew she put up a fight. I just didn't want to believe it that she was gone.
And I think that was the first time that I kind of let myself think about the fact that she was no longer with us.
Approximately 9 months after Alexis Murphy went missing, and within hours of closing arguments in the murder trial, the jury comes back with a verdict.
I remember looking on social media and seeing guilty, and it was just like a relief. One step closer to finding an end to what has happened. Like, we have him, he's guilty, he can't do this to anyone else.
Randy Taylor is convicted of abduction with intent to defile and of first-degree murder.
In the courtroom, he would not look at the family at all.
I was giving my victim impact statement, and Randy Taylor got up and tried to run out.
Yeah, he caused the whole scene. He was like, I don't want to hear this.
It was during the sentencing hearing, Mr. Taylor's lawyers saying to the judge, Mr. Taylor would be willing to give the whereabouts of Alexis in exchange for 20 years.
So basically, if we agreed to let him have 20 years, that he would tell us what we wanted to know. So, I mean, there's a lot I want to know. I want to know why he did it. I want to know why her. I want to know where she is. There's a lot I want to know. But in 20 years, you know, he's still young enough to reoffend.
The family denies the deal.
I wanted to know. I really did. Then on the other hand, why should we give you 20 years and then you be here going back doing the same thing you've been doing all this long, hurting all the people?
2 months later, Taylor is handed 2 life sentences with no possibility for parole.
I think the biggest mystery in this entire case is how Randy Taylor got this beautiful 17-year-old girl to follow him outside the gas station and go to this dumpy, horror film-like camper. I think we'll never know.
She followed him off to that camper. When they got there, I believe that he wanted to have sex with her, rape her, did that, and then I feel he obviously couldn't let her go, right? Because she could identify him. I don't think we'll ever 100% know what went on.
I don't think it was random. I think he stalked her. I think he knew everything about her, what her routine was. And I definitely think that he was following her for a while before he saw his opportunity. Right, wrong, or indifferent, I will go to my grave. I will never believe that she voluntarily went anywhere with them.
But Alexis's family won't rest until they find her body.
The family and the community never stopped looking for her. There were still search parties for years after this conviction.
Holidays, birthdays, the date of her disappearance, those are things you always think of, and you always have that picture in your mind, what if? What if she was still here?
Over 7 years after Alexis's disappearance, human remains are found on private property in Livingston, Virginia, the same town where Randy Taylor lived. On February 5th, 2021, they are positively identified as Alexis Murphy.
You know, when I told him about it, you could just see them kind of, a little flame go out, which kind of stunk. But I think in the long run, it hopefully will be better for them than not knowing.
Yeah, it wasn't the news that I wanted, but it was the closure that we needed for me, my family, for everyone. It was the closure that we needed.
It's great that we don't have to wonder anymore, but my niece that I'm supposed to be watching graduate from high school and now graduate from college and meet a nice guy and have babies and have a career, and she's on the shelf in my living room.
My daughter, Lexi, used to always say she wanted to be famous, but I didn't think she would ever be famous. This is not the famous that she wanted to be.
A really genuine person who cares about other people, who liked to see other people laugh and enjoy life. Somebody that had big dreams, bigger than her little hometown.
I want Alexis to be remembered as the very outgoing girl that she was. She loved her family, her mom, and she would make you laugh no matter what. And even though she was an influencer, it was never fake. That was her.